Alright, in this video we are going to add in some acceleration, deceleration, and potentially some rotation inertia. And to do this, we're going to need to add in a few variables. Now, what we're going to add here is going to be variables on this object. So we're going to right click on this, edit object variables, and we're going to add a few. So we're going to add a first one called max speed. And the max speed we're going to have is about 150. You'll be able to change that if you don't like it. We're going to add a variable called current speed. And this is going to be 0. Now make sure you write these just as I am writing them. Or if you change them, you're going to have to remember exactly how you wrote them. So we're going to have a variable here called acceleration. 1L, 2 C's, pretty sure that's right. And this is going to be set to 2. That might be too slow. We'll set it to 5 and we can play around with it later. Add here, we're going to say rotation speed. We'll say max rotation speed. Max rotation speed equals 45. Oh, we might say 60. We'll do a real sharp turn. Add current rotation speed equals 0. And lastly, that shouldn't be a child variable. Weird. Let's just delete that one. Add. We're going to have rotation acceleration. Okay, so we've got these different variables and we're going to have that one at 2. Now what these are going to be used for, this is going to be our maximum speed. As we push the up key, we're going to add acceleration to the current speed and then move the ship by the current speed until it gets to maximum speed. And when it's at the maximum speed, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to kind of stay at that speed. When we let go of the key, it's going to slowly slow down by the acceleration speed until it gets to 0 and then it will stop. So we won't be able to go backwards. Ships tend not to reverse, at least pirate ships. And then we've got the rotation speed. Now this one we may implement in this video or in the next video, depending on how long this one goes. But it's going to work the same way. We're going to be able to rotate, but as we go faster, we will be able to move and rotate faster. So let's go ahead, apply those, and we're going to go into the code here. Now, we won't actually need this down key. We don't need that, so we're going to delete that. Instead, we're going to add in a condition here called key pressed, and it's going to be the up key, but we're going to invert the condition. Now what this means is when the up key is not pressed. So when the up key is not pressed, we're going to do something. So we're going to need this one here. We're also going to need a few other conditions which we'll get to shortly. But this one here, we're going to leave this and we're going to change this part here. So this part, we're going to say instead of 50, we're going to move it by red ship dot variable. We're going to get the variable of the red ship and the variable's name is current speed. So we're going to move it by the current speed in pixels. So currently the current speed starts at 0. When we run the game, it should move by 0 pixels. Now this one we'll look at later, and these we'll look at changing later. But now what we're going to actually do is move this out of here. We're going to cut that and we're going to copy it down here. So it doesn't have a condition, it's always going to do this. And what we're going to do is when we push the up key, so let's go ahead, up key, add action. When we push the up key, we're going to go red ship, modify the variable of an object, current speed, choose an operator, add, and we're going to add the value red ship dot variable acceleration. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us the option of just picking a drop-down list here, which would be really handy. But what it's going to do is when we push the up key, we're going to set the current speed to the current, we're going to change the variable to be increased by the acceleration. Now we can try this right now. If we go into here, nothing happens. If I push the up key, the ship starts moving. The more I push it, the faster it gets. We can't slow down yet. We haven't told it what to do. But we are going to say when the up key is pressed, we're going to copy this, copy, paste. We're going to change this to minus. So what's going to happen now, the ship's actually going to start moving backwards. But if we push up, we can make it move forwards, and it will kind of slow down and move backwards as I push up and don't push up. We'll still turn, like so. Now we don't want it to move backwards and accelerate to infinity. So what we need to do here is add another condition here. Add a condition, red ship, value of an object's variable current speed is less than, and it's going to be red ship dot variable max speed. Pretty sure I called it max speed, so we'll have to have a look and check. So this is going to say when these two conditions are true, the up key is pressed and the variable current speed of the red ship is less than its maximum speed. If it's ever greater than its maximum speed, it stops. We're actually going to change this to less than or equal to. No, it's got to be less than. Okay, so what will happen is we can accelerate, and you'll see that my ship doesn't accelerate to infinity now. However, it will still do it when it's going backwards. So we need to fix that up as well. What we're going to do here is, again, copy this and paste it in here, but we're going to change this value to be greater than, and we're going to just change this to 0. So as long as the value of the current, the ship is greater than 0, you'll see it will slow down like that. Now we could make it slow down slower if we add this here and say divide by 2. Okay, and that's going to make it slow down faster than it speeds up, which feels a bit more realistic, I guess. Alright, now that part is pretty much done. There is one other thing that we're going to do here, and then I'm going to do this part in the next video. It's going to be to add an event here, add an action, red ship, and we're going to look for separate two objects. We want to separate the sand and the red ship. And we'll click OK. Only the red ship will move, the sand will not move. We're also going to add in another action here, red ship, move, separate two objects, the grass, sand, OK. So it's going to move the red ship away from those. So let's have a look and see what happens if we try and move into it. It doesn't let us. Okay, now the collision on that is not perfect. That's why we can't go there. We can kind of slide along there. I don't think that we can really change the collision detection on this much. No, we can't. So there's not much we can do about that. But unless we were to get a whole lot of individual island graphics, these are going to be fine because we can resize them without a problem. You can kind of put them together to make different island shapes, which is okay. And there's just one last thing I want to check. Add action, C. I'm just wondering if you can change the texture on this, but I don't think, image offset, here we go. So let's change the image offset. We're going to add to it. We're going to add 10 to it. And we're going to do the same. C, image Y offset, add 10 to that. Now what should happen here is the C should move. Oh, well, that's really way too quick. Let's just go 1. Didn't expect that to... There we go. So now we've got the ocean moving behind us, the little waves happening, and that looks quite cool. So in the next video, we'll look at making this feel a little bit more realistic. Once you start turning, it takes a little bit of time for it to stop turning.